Welcome, everybody, to podcast number 310. Are you visiting projects with a purpose? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Just recording this podcast out here in Southern California. Over here visiting my parents. Our kids are visiting their grandparents out here. We're having a good time. And this week I'm finishing the revisions to the second edition to Elevating Construction Takt Planning. So wanted an area, an environment where I could focus. The only thing that's bad is we've got bad internet out here. So struggling through that. If you have good internet, thank the internet gods because you're doing well. So I want to say somebody asked me today, and they're great people, but he asked me today, he said, I've been on a project for 3 weeks and the project is a month behind and it's failing. And I really would like some coaching. And we ended up talking, hey, that's great. I love that you want coaching. That's not really a coaching thing. That's like a project recovery thing. That's a, hey, you need help right away thing. And he didn't have very much confidence that the company would pay for it. I think that's great. They'll save $20,000 and they'll spend $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 crash landing the project. So I think they've made a pretty good financial investment there in the decision. But at the end of the call, I wanted to add some value. That was sarcastic, by the way. But at the end of the call, I wanted to add some value. I could tell he was frustrated. And I said, which is true, and I want to tell all of you, if your project is struggling and you start to say, I need more material, I need more manpower, keep pushing, get it done, let's rush, put it in, and you have a lot of energy and you're working a ton, all you're doing is extending the overall duration of the project. That is not going to help you. The more busyness you have, and it's counterintuitive, I get it, but the bit more busyness you have, the longer it's going to take to finish that thing and the more misery you're going to go through and the more it's going to cost. That's just how it is. Unless you create flow, unless you stabilize the project and create flow. And that always begins with takt planning, or at the end, you're going to use systems like Scrum. And so I was very clear about that to this superintendent. He was like, I totally agree. But at the same time, he didn't feel enabled to go, do what he needed to do to get the project done. So felt very sad for him. But on we go. We'll get as many projects as we possibly can. I wish him the best of luck. But you will never, this is my message, and this is scientific. This is proven. This is a fact. You will not recover your project. It will not happen. You will not recover your project. It will not happen if you start pushing. The only way to do it is if you start flowing. So that's my advice. I hope that helps you. So let's go ahead and get into this podcast tonight. What am I excited about in life? I'm excited about online course material. Had some conversations today with a good group of people on creating a online course for takt planning to scale that throughout the industry. And the answer for me is yes. Like, we're going to do that and I'm excited about it. So let's talk about some fans and feedback. This was a really nice bit of feedback. And he said, I'm halfway through the takt planning book. It's wonderful. Thank you for creating such a great resource along with the lean takt content. And there's a clap, a muscle emoji, and a heart. So we got 3 emojis there, and I thought that was pretty neat. So let's go ahead and get right into the conflict here. You're not spending enough time visiting projects and taking the time to do it. So I'll tell you a story, and this was taught to me by a general superintendent at DPR Construction. He was coaching me as I became a general superintendent, was visiting more projects. He said, Jason, just go work there for a day. Just go be in the environment, be in the open office, be on your computer, listen to the way people talk. How do they talk to each other? Are they talking to each other? Get a feel for the job. And don't even go in there guns a-blazing. Just go in there and assess, absorb, be at the place of work. Just feel the condition of the job. I thought that was probably the most wise bit of advice that I ever could have received as a general superintendent, to assess the needs of the project and to see where things were going. A lot of times when executives come to a project, they're nervous and they feel like you're a seagull. You're just going to come crap on everything and then fly away, right? But if you go in there and absorb and integrate and build rapport, you can really see a lot of things that we need to see. So the principle here is that there are some really neat ways to go visit a project. So I've made a list for us and a list of questions, and I'm going to repeat the signs of a project in trouble tonight. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So when we go to a project, I recommend the following things. Speak to all perceived, I don't call them lower level people, but what the industry would consider lower level people. You're going to want to talk to craft workers. You're going to want to talk to the janitor. You're going to want to talk to the new entry-level engineers. When you walk around, take some time and ask them how things are going. Also, talk to senior people, foremen, superintendents, trade partners, project managers, senior members of the team. I remember there was an operations manager that used to come to the project and just walk right through the office and go into the project manager's door and close the door. And I was like, that is the worst leader I've ever encountered in my entire life. And people like that get promoted all the time. It's so funny. Well, actually, it's not funny, but so that's not how you do it. How you should do it is you talk to all different types of people and you get diverse opinions. That's one way you can really get a good feel for what's going on. Attending a team meeting is the third one. There's probably no better way to check out a project, to assess progress, and to assess the team, and to really just get a feel for how things are going, other than checking out the team meeting, feeling the energy, feeling the communication, seeing if there's tension, seeing if there's trust, is there conflict, is there goal setting together, are they holding each other accountable? You can tell a lot by attending a team meeting. It's really fantastic. The other thing is do lunch with some of the leaders. Most of the time going to lunch, that's a cue to let down your guard. You're away from the project and it's like you can just chat it up with the friends a little bit, and it opens up and creates a mental trigger for some looseness and to actually get some real-time feedback on the way things are going. If you see them having fun, then that's a good sign. If you see them not going out to lunch or having fun or being kind of stuffy, then there's some issues there. Okay? Walk the job. This sounds probably pretty basic, but you'd be surprised how many leaders in our industry don't do this. So walk the job. Absolutely, this is a must. If you want to get a feel for how things are going, you do not want to look at reports alone. You do not want to look at metrics alone. You do not want to look, did I say numbers? You don't want to look at any of that stuff alone. You want to go to the place of work, like the Japanese say, and you want to do a walk. Every time, no matter what position, you do a walk and you look for safety as your first priority, your first value, your first focus. And you go out there and you can really see what you need to see, especially if you use the Ono circles where you find yourself a perch and you look at the energy and the flow or lack of flow on the project and just stand there for 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, whatever, however long it will take you to really see the waste, see the possible flow or lack of flow, and do an assessment. Okay. The other thing you can do is ask the project team about their problems. What are they dealing with? This is one of the best ways to kind of dig in and see where the project is, and also to help. I really like that. So I've talked about previously on team building podcast sessions about doing assessments and finding people's strengths. I really, really do believe that. So when you're doing walks, either observe, or if they don't already have these player cards, create player cards and then observe people in action and how they naturally interact and see if people's strengths are being used where they are needed for the project. Okay. I really like the concept of when I go to a project, either before or doing kind of a little team assessment survey or a team health survey. I have templates for these if you ever need them or want them. They're great. And a lot of times, even though we should all be open to transparent communication and talking within the team, sometimes people want a little safe way to provide feedback. And you can find out what are the team's lowest metrics and the things that they're dealing with so that we can go help them. Okay. And then just generally get feedback and ask for feedback and let people know that you're listening. You might have to say it 7 times that you're listening. You might have to say it 7 times that you care, but I'm telling you, it's 100% worth the effort. When I go to a team, and I would recommend this to you, you need to know, why is that team together? What is their purpose? What is their performance goal? Who is the main leader, and are they a multiplier leader? Is there trust at that level? Is there transparency and vulnerability? Is there a knowledge and understanding of where they're headed? Is there good communication? Is there a shared vision and goals? Are they focusing and taking action together as a team? Is there feedback, conflict, and accountability within the team? Are they performing or are they not performing? Is there teamwork and support? And is there a passion and enthusiasm for what they do? So this is kind of like a little team audit. And if you see problems with this, you're going to want to dig deeper and help them with it because they deserve it and they probably want to get better. I posted on LinkedIn today again, the signs of a project in trouble. I'm going to tell you this, be on the lookout for these things. If there's a lack of flow to the work, if there's a lack of cleanliness, if there's a poor safety culture, if the project is unorganized, if people are out of roles, if there's high turnover, if the project team is dysfunctional, if the project energy needs exceed the energy of the team, if there's poor morale, if there are bad bathrooms with graffiti on site, if communication is a problem on the project, if there are cancerous people on the project that have not been removed or disciplined, if the team does not see and remove problems and roadblocks ahead of time, if there's a failing procurement tracking system, if there's not an effective system to control commissioning, if there's no risk and opportunity register to track risks and their associated costs, if there's poor morale, that's a second mention of morale, and that's intentional. If office communication like submittals, buyout, and RFIs are chronically late, if there's low energy and drive, if there are bad meetings, if there's more than one trade that's not performing. Now, you can usually deal with one, but if there's 2 major trades, like if you have the framer and the electrician, you're in deep trouble. More than one trade is not performing. And if there's an unreasonable owner's representative. Now, I'm going to do a podcast about this. In fact, I'm going to write this down for tomorrow, to do this tomorrow. So, owner's rep. I want to cue this up. When I say an unrealistic or an overburdening owner's rep, the owner's representative, I'm not talking that they have high expectations. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but Lorna Gray, the director of construction for the University of Arizona, is probably the best person that I've ever worked for in my entire career. And she held us to such a high standard that it sometimes felt impossible. But I left working for her a better leader, a better superintendent, a better human being, a better everything, because she had high expectations. But here's the deal. She had reasonable, meaning logical expectations. I'm talking about owners reps with unreasonable, illogical expectations. Both of those can have high expectations, but one is reasonable and the other one is unreasonable. And what I'm talking about is if there are ignorant owners reps that think that every area of the project has to be busy, that believe in overproduction, that believe in increasing manpower counts as the first default, that believe in increasing material inventory as the first default, that believe that adding people to the project team is going to solve things, that believe that design changes don't affect the project, that start to run things for the project team instead of coaching them, that undermine the general contractor with the trade partners. Those are the kinds of unreasonable owners representatives that will damage, like murder, kill the job. And we can't have that. And then the final one for signs of a project in trouble is that your gut tells you so. So those are the signs of a project in trouble. And so just high level here, we overestimate the impact of general superintendents and executives visiting projects when they have too many projects. But we underestimate our effectiveness if we actually dig in and really do a deep dive on critical things and connect with people. And so I just want to say that we have the opportunity to have remarkable project visits because right now it's not happening. And so my challenge is go do a remarkable project visit and make a difference. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.